Meant to Be Well Summit is created by three incredible women, Ambreen, Valerie and Andrea. The main objective is to bring together experts from around the world to raise awareness about the importance of holistic well-being. This summit aims to explore the multidimensional aspects of well-being, including physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This isn't just any event. It's a unique, global summit marathon designed to cover all time zones across the globe. We created this event because we genuinely care about you. We believe that everyone deserves to thrive and live a life of well-being. This summit isn't just about learning, it's about transforming your life. Our speakers are dedicated to inspire, uplift, and help you tap into your full potential. Join us, and let these world-class thought leaders guide you toward a higher level of mental, physical, and spiritual well-being.
All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Here we are after we have been with Nancy, we have been with Miss Suchi, having laughed a lot. We have Jacinta here in the studio. I'm so happy. And we will bring you around her family. So if anytime you hear kids' voices, don't worry. It's just that she is living a well life. It's Well-Being Summit, so we include the kids. Thank you so much for those who are watching. Hi, Peter, again. Thank you for being there for almost all the sessions. We really appreciate that. Please take also breaks and have some nice water and some breakfast. And thank you so much, Jacinta, for being here. It was such an honor to have you on board. You are an amazing woman, a multi-talented woman for me, and also a mother, which is something that gives extra layers to life and also extra challenges, I believe, as an entrepreneur, as mother, and as a thought leader. I think that those things are coming all together in your life. So welcome in the studio. Please
Thank you.
just feel free to introduce yourself a little bit, and then we will start with your topic.
Yes, thank you so much, Andrea, for having me today, and very happy to be sharing on this summit for the first time. I think we have people from all over the world tuning in, so kudos to those who woke up early Singapore time. I know I hope that your sleep was good last night, because that's what we're going to discuss today. And a little bit of my background. Basically, I'm a Body Talk advanced practitioner, meaning that Body Talk is a modality that looks at how we integrate the mind and body as a whole, as the holistic approach to looking at wellness or healthcare versus just looking at the physical body and symptoms itself. Yeah. And in this aspect, I have seen various clients with sleeping issues, with anxiety issues, with stress issues, and all of them, they come from different sources and different pain points. But sleep has a huge factor to do with the accumulation of all these issues. So yeah, that's what I look forward to sharing with you today on.
I really love it. And I think I can also resonate with this because I'm a super hyperactive person. So for me, sleep is, I don't know, I tried everything now. What works for me is like lavender oil on my wrists. And then I try to just wrap it a little bit, smell it a little bit before I go to sleep, and then try to just relax with a book, because books makes me sleepy after a while. So those little two things were helping me, but it's still a struggle. So I'm looking forward to hear from you. And I think maybe we can start with the first part, like when is it considered to be a problem, or when is it like when do you say that someone has sleeping problems? Because I think that's very important to give the definition first.
Yes. So I think on the surface or immediately, people with issues like sleep apnea, then it's quite obvious that their sleep will not be one of great quality, because they are having difficulties taking in the right amount of oxygen for their bodies, and their body is kind of already in a stress state because of the sleep apnea. So that is immediately what I would suggest people to go to a sleep therapist or a consultant to actually get some wearable device to help with that. with the sleep apnea first. And then on top of that, also take active steps towards getting more improved quality sleep. But for the regular, let's say the regular people out there, it can be hard to know whether or not you have a sleeping issue. Typically, those who have insomnia, like you lie in bed and you can't fall asleep, that's also quite straightforward. Or if you keep waking up multiple times through the night, that's also straightforward, that sleep isn't great. The other one is when you wake up, you don't feel immediately like fully energized. You feel like sluggish, you just want to laze in bed and you keep snoozing your alarm button. Okay, those are also early signs that you're not sleeping well. But for myself, it was quite interesting because I consider myself like a good sleeper. Normally, I just lie in bed and I can fall asleep pretty quickly, anytime, anywhere, actually. And in the middle of the night, I don't really wake up at all. But the moment I started wearing a health tracker or something that allows you to track the quality of your sleep, looking at the details like deep sleep and REM sleep. So if you look at the amount of REM sleep and deep sleep that you're having, that gives the right, clear indicator of the quality of your sleep. And you want to kind of target 25% deep sleep, 25% REM, and as little awake time as possible in between. So I would say if you have a health tracker or have access to one, like an Apple Watch or any other form, use that to get a good look at your sleep. You just need like a consecutive 3 days or over a week, and then make tweaks to it and monitor again. Then you would really know tangibly, like before and after, and what you have been doing, whether or not it has been helping you. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much. And the first question is arriving from the audience. It's basically about the sleep therapist, whether it's something similar to hypnotherapist.
Okay. It's going to be a little bit different. So sleep therapist really looks at all the signs of sleep, and they use more devices to actually track the sleep, and sometimes including devices that attach onto the brain as well. So a little bit different as a hypnotherapist. Yeah.
Okay, so now that we recognize that we have sleeping problems or we are not sleeping very well, what's the next step? Like, how can you improve this condition? And maybe we can also talk about the correlation between not sleeping and having anxiety or having stress in our lives. So how this vicious circle starts and what can we do?
Okay, Andrea, so if you would help me to pull up the slide. Okay, so basically, when the body doesn't, sleep is very important because it's kind of like the body's way to recover. And we all know that for kids, they need more hours of sleep. Babies are sleeping practically all the time. Young children, they are sleeping up 12 to 10 hours at least. And for adults, we need at least 6 to 8 hours of quality sleep. So what is going on during this period of sleep is that the body is really going through several phases of repair. Okay. During that stage of repair, the body is kind of like at a lower activity level, but not necessary that the brain is at a lower activity level, because certain parts of the brain are actually firing up to kind of process through whatever has happened during the day. Yeah. And if the body is not kind of in a relaxed mode, although it's active, it's still relaxed. Okay. So if it's not in a relaxed mode, the one on the right, that is the normal mode that the limbic system will go into. But if it's not relaxed, it goes into a stress response, which produces cortisol in our body. And that causes anxiety. And also a little bit of the cortisol is like a stress response. So it puts the body in a state where the stress doesn't become restful anymore. Yeah. So things that could upset this balance are, for example, people who look at their phones and watch television at night, because the blue light from the devices actually stimulates our brain in a certain way and makes it very hard for us to naturally go into that sleep mode when it's time to sleep. So we'll talk a bit about sleep hygiene later and what we can do, but that is kind of like one of the first things that we are facing daily in our modern day lives now. Then the other thing is also things like, if you are drinking caffeine late into the night, that is going to have a response on your body. If you're drinking alcohol, that's also going to have a response in your body that's going to affect the quality of sleep. Yeah. So and also how dark the room is. If you're keeping all the lights on, even though it's already nighttime, the brightest condition is also going to affect how the body thinks that it's ready for sleep or not. Yeah. So these are things that we're going to look at. And once the body is kind of naturally tuned to be ready to sleep, we want to kind of allow it to really naturally settle down. The melatonin production will start naturally in our body, and that kicks in the whole sleep process. Okay. So if that process also is not naturally like supported, long-term sleep deprivation actually has huge impact on the health. So I want to talk about all the negative stuff first. So then after that, you will pay attention to how to do the sleep hygiene well. Like put the damage out there first. Okay. So you can see things like impact connection. So long-term wise, memory is going to take a toll. Many people, especially old people, they suffer from poor memory. Eventually, it may lead to some form of early dementia, or even a full-blown dementia further into their lives. So it all starts from also quality of sleep. And for young people, it could just be a lack of mental focus. So like what we call brain fog. You're daily doing your task, but somehow you just can't get the right focus, can't get this, keeps getting distracted, or the right thoughts or thinking process doesn't come up to the mind. So that can be also slow signs of sleep really taking effect on the mental, on the brain health. Anxiety levels as well, for example, because it really disrupts the whole mood with increased cortisol being produced. And when we go about our day with increased anxiety levels, of course, the stress through the daytime also increase as well. So for example, if you have something planned for the day, and if it doesn't work out as normal, if you had a good night of sleep, maybe it would just be like, okay, let's stay cool, let's, see what's the next step to be done. If you didn't have a good sleep, maybe it would just be stuck in like a heightened state where you're like, oh my gosh, what should I do? You can't think of what's next and keep yourself productive or get through the task. Yeah, and that can create a vicious cycle that lead to some people, actually, I would say many people, really in this day and age, having a state of chronic anxiety and chronic stress issues. Okay, and on that note, then we go to things like depression or other more serious kind of mental health issues may develop over time. On the physical side of things, sleep is also really, really impacting physical health, like cardiovascular, stroke risk, diabetes, breast cancer, and other types of cancer, and especially also weight gain, which is something that many people also observe as they get older into their lives. Yeah. So these are all the things that, sleep really impacts on the daily basis. And I would say in the daily life, this is one of the most important things to take care of. In addition to your daily diet, sleep is kind of like your detox for your brain at night. Yeah. I'll take a pause
Thank
here in case you have any
Yeah,
questions.
thank you so much. No, perfect, perfect. I think it was an amazing share, and please, guys, rewatch it later if you are coming up later and wake up later. And I know Saturday morning is sometimes getting ready to do the day with the family, so I believe a lot of people will rewatch it later. Please go back, check the slides, and learn a lot. Achan is saying brain fog. Is it part of blockage of our brain nerves chronizing with our memory power? So let's answer this question first.
Well, basically, it's just a part of the brain that because it doesn't get enough rest, it's not fired up as per normal. Yeah. And brain fog is not really to do with memory. Brain fog is to do with the current processing of the brain to settle the task at hand. Memory is kind of a separate thing. So 4 things that will be affected with poor sleep, it's memory, your concentration or your focus, and then your mood, which is like either anxiety or stress. And then it's really the repair of the brain health itself.
Love the tips. And I think one more thing that we might talk about is with the kids, because you are a mom. And I think it also brings up a lot of questions about how the moms can have a little bit more relaxing sleep, or how can they play around with the kids to make them to sleep. I think there is so much thing to explore in this area. So maybe you can share with us a few tips around that.
Yeah, so for as a mom, sleep is like kind of non-negotiable. When they're in their early stages, once they get past kind of like the night feeds and stuff, they from 3 months onwards, ideally they are following at least at the equator space, which is Singapore, we follow a regular sunrise and sunset. So I kind of use that as a gauge. When it's sunrise, baby wakes up, because sunlight is also a very good indicator. It kind of, when sunlight hits our eyes, there is a natural chemistry process that causes the whole body to kind of wake, and hormones are produced to get our day going. But when it's time for sunset, that diminishing of the light from the natural environment also starts to kick our body into a natural process to prepare for rest. So I would suggest babies from 3 months onwards to really follow that sunrise and sunset for their sleep timing. And then you would definitely be getting like at least 12 hours, or at least, a good like 10 to 11 hours for them to really, grow and recover, because in the front part, they're growing at exponential rate. Yeah, babies are really kind of doubling in their brain size. And for older toddlers, or like when they reach about 7 to 14, still teenagers, before puberty period, they do still need the quality of sleep of at least 10 hours, because they are still growing, although not as fast as the baby stage, but so much is being learned and pruned, and the synapses, they're building and they're forming throughout the day, and the old ones are being taken out. So the rest is really quality for their growing needs, and also the mental health, because hormonal changes also starts. Yeah, so we want to really get that kind of like fixed as a good foundation, to also avoid the teenage hormonal or mental and emotional issues that we're seeing actually more and more in today's age. So kind of wonder what is the correlation between the quality of sleep, their devices, and also the mental health issue that we're facing now with teenagers. Yeah.
Such a good point. Actually, that's a very good point about the devices and everything. And I think it's also like you said about the blue light, but also something is also very important. It's not just the blue light; it's just the constant notifications, or the thing that is developing in our body and in our brain, that we have to look at it, we have to open it, we have to answer immediately all the messages, and it's also creating this vicious cycle. So maybe we can finish with some tips about that. How you can build routines to get rid of the devices, or to slowly, or when during the day, we should create these moments of without the devices.
Okay, so we look at something we call sleep hygiene as how is your sleep hygiene? So definitely I say no nothing blue light that's interfering. Try to avoid substances like caffeine and alcohol. You can definitely have some, let's say, aromatherapy or some calming tea like chamomile to help your body get into a state of calm and rest. Keep the sleeping environment, try to keep it quiet and dark, but leave the blinds a little bit open so that when the daylight comes in the morning, it can also naturally hit your eyes and wake you up. Also, if you kind of need, what do you call that? A cool environment. So a cool environment will also allow your body to go into a better state of rest versus one that's very humid. Yeah. So those are the kind of basic kind of sleep hygiene that we can do on a daily basis. But additional for people who already suffer from chronic anxiety and chronic stress, sometimes that can itself, because it's a vicious cycle, right? So that in itself will cause the inability to sleep. So for people who are already at that stage, or like say myself, I'm seeing that my REM before I kind of looked at sleep itself and fixed it was virtually zero. I had deep sleep, but my REM sleep was virtually zero. So I started something called a suite of supplements that could help with my sleep. The first one being looking at magnesium and melatonin. So there is a new clinically proven solution that just came out into the market. It's important that it's clinically proven because you want it to definitely help you to improve the quality of sleep with proven results. And also at the same time, the safety of the supplement really, really matters. So I would say these two are key. And this new clinically proven solution looks at sleep as a whole 360 cycle as well. Just like you mentioned, the vicious cycle has to be addressed at all stages. So the one that helps with sleep, immediately it contains magnesium. It contains just 1% of melatonin, so very, very little. And why at that level? Also because we have found that significant amounts of, regardless the amount of melatonin, it doesn't affect whether we sleep better. We just need it to be present. And unfortunately, the body produces lesser and lesser melatonin as we age. So just have that little bit of melatonin to help with increased sleep. And also they included a little bit of saffron inside. So what saffron does is saffron kind of kicks in the kind of it's more of like mood. It helps to calm the body down, and therefore we can sleep better. And it also helps to balance out the melatonin production and inflammatory response in our body while we sleep. So saffron is an expensive ingredient, so they have included that because it has been clinically proven that together with the magnesium and melatonin, that really helps with improving. And myself, I've seen that once I started on that, my REM became 1 hour minimum. So 1 hour from 0 to 1 hour, that's huge. Yes, saffron is used for cooking, so you can get that also from natural sources, but it is expensive, and there are different quality of saffron out there. Okay, then the next one is the next part of the solution. They have it also for memory. So for memory and also for the focus to address the brain fog that we speak about earlier. But the more important part is that there is one for addressing anxiety, which what they put and studies found is that they use the milk protein found that helps baby naturally. So there's a milk protein. If we look at babies, why do they drink milk and then they naturally get drowsy and then they fall asleep? Because there's a certain milk protein inside there that really naturally stimulates the the calm response, so that naturally they go into a good deep sleep. So that milk protein is also included for people to feel more calm throughout the day. And I see a huge difference with people who address that chronic anxiety, and their quality of sleep significantly improves after. Yeah, so these are the two things that I think is great about this new clinically proven solution to manage the whole sleep cycle. Of course, I would recommend people take it as a whole 360 solution instead of the individuals. But if anything, the one for reducing anxiety, the calm one, and the nighttime one are the most important. Yeah, so these are the things that you can look at to improving sleep quality. And I would say definitely address it sooner rather than later, because it accumulates every single day.
Love the tips, and I think so many things shared. So please rewatch this session and make notes. And if you would like to, please connect with Jacinta here on LinkedIn, and then you can just reach out to her and have the exact names of the supplements and everything. She's an amazing expert on this, and she has a lot of resources. So just reach out to her and say that you are from the Meant to Be Well Summit, and I'm sure she will help you with all the problems and actually 360 view of life and well-being. And I really love the work that you do, Jacinta. Keep on doing it, keep on inspiring, go on with your day. I will log out of the studio and I will be bringing Kerry and Shireen on from Australia and from Pakistan. And thank you so much for being here today. I know that it's a challenging family day, Saturday morning, but I really appreciate that you took the time and you were here with us, and thank you for sharing.
Lovely to be here, Andrea.
Thank you so much. So for
Yeah,
those
do
who are
connect
watching
on
us,
LinkedIn.
thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you, Jacinta.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for those who are watching. See you again soon.